You just keep not getting scores out, you. I'm watching this.
There's nothing contractual that says we have to guess the score.
I'm not getting scores.
She's judging.
Please paying attention.
No one's agreed once again.
Feel it in your guts, let's get it, let's run it up. Feel it in your bones,
Run it up, run it up.
Feel it in your guts, let's get it, let's run it up. Feel it in your soul, Feel it in your bones, Feel it in your guts, let's get it, let's run it up. Feel it in your bones, Run it up, run it up. Feel it in your guts, let's get it, let's run it up. Feel it in your soul, Feel it in your bones,
Trippier taking it! Euphoria all around. Oh, it's a stunning goal. A quite brilliant finish.
Newcastle versus Everton. Clinton.
It's a big game. Everton on the back of having a few good results. As for Newcastle, I think the job Eddie Howe's done at Newcastle has been first class. They could even win a trophy. That's how confident I am in Newcastle.
I think it was 9th they finished last year. But I think there is pressure on them to continue that run. And Everton are the same. I think actually more pressure on Frank Lampard to finish in the top 8 teams, if not push for top 6. But I think Calvert-Lewin is huge for Everton. If he can stay fit, then I think he wins football matches for them and is going to be a big part of them doing well this season.
Everton, they're in that position that Spurs were in for a long time, where you know who your first choice striker is, and your first choice striker is not going anywhere. You know, if Calvert-Lewin's fit, Calvert-Lewin's in the team, and it's really hard to find somebody who can be either an alternative or maybe a supplement or just someone to kind of be an understudy for a while. I thought Mbappe kind of fitted the bill quite well there.
They just needed someone who was available, who was ready to try and score goals. Obviously, he's already off the mark, Neil Maupay now for Everton, and essentially all Everton fans will just be happy that they've got someone that is a striker, that is an out-and-out striker that can play. That was the one place that they really needed to strengthen.
We forget stuff quite quickly, and we maybe underestimate quite how bad last season was for Everton.
It was terrible. What would you consider a success for Everton?
Listen, Everton are a big football club. They wouldn't have accepted last season. They were happy at the final whistle of staying up, but they won't accept that again.
If 14th is successful for Everton this season, that sounds a bit stupid as it's Everton and they're one of the biggest clubs in the country and they should be aiming for top 6, top 7 at least. But this year, 14th, and you look at the players they've signed, that's what Lampard wants. They've gone for players who kind of know what they're about. But it's what Everton needed to make sure that this season isn't like last season.
As for Newcastle, everyone was expecting huge things after the takeover. Eddie Howe, I think we're all in agreement, did a brilliant job last season in the way he turned it around. But maybe they haven't started as fast or as well as many would have expected this season.
The key to Newcastle doing well is keeping those big players fit. You have to keep the likes of Callum Wilson, Isak, Saint-Maximin. If you can get him going, he's the talisman. Because they took over, everyone thought, Newcastle are going to sign Mbappe, Neymar, Messi. No, take your time and slowly build.
That's why I think a signing like Isak's actually really smart. He's young, he's hungry, and he's already hit the ground running. He looks like he can get goals. So I actually quite like the fact that Newcastle have done the opposite to what we expect.
But the expectation will put pressure on Eddie Howe, won't it? Because all of the Newcastle fans and everyone watching on is expecting them to be the next big team.
They've not had a bad start. No. They came close to beating Man City. They probably should have got a point at Anfield. They do feel like a team that's on the up. So this is the sort of game that I think Eddie Howe will look at and think, well, this has to be a win. It's at home. The atmosphere at St James has been brilliant ever since the takeover. Because they could potentially finish top 8.
You know, expectations can't be too high because they would ideally want to be, playing Champions League football in a few years to come.
This year's expectations are governed by what happened last year. So Rory says 14th for Everton because they nearly got relegated. If Newcastle finished 9th last year, surely that's the minimum, right? Which is pressure.
Yeah, getting from 13th to 12th in the Premier League is easier than getting from 8th to 7th.
Exactly.
Getting from 8th to 7th costs a lot of money. That's going to be the first big leap that Newcastle have to make. If you wanted to break into top 7, you've probably got to overhaul Spurs or Arsenal. Or
I think there's too many good teams against Newcastle for them to be able to finish higher than that area.
That's mad to think they finished 9th last year.
It's amazing.
It shows just what an incredible job Eddie Howe did.
From where they were. They overachieved last year.
It's also a stronger Premier League this year.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
This is probably a wider debate that going on.
Because it probably is.
You are right, but that's for another time. It's about Newcastle.
Let's bring it back to Newcastle. Everton. Let's end this. Peen, a score prediction.
I think it's going to be 1-0 to Newcastle.
2-0 to Newcastle.
This is a tough one.
We're not holding you to it. There's nothing on it, don't worry.
I think it's going to be 2-1 Everton. Yeah.
It's a relatively comfortable Newcastle win.
You just keep not getting scores out, you. I'm watching this.
There's nothing contractual that says we have to guess the score.
I'm not getting scores. I like it.
Queen's paying attention.
No one's agreed once again.